What if I told you the people who lived in my house were secretly drugging me and almost convinced the world I was insane? This didn't start with chaos. That's what made it so dangerous. At first, it felt like stress. I'd walk into a room and forget why I was there. I'd reread the same email, but the words wouldn't stay. Once, I sent a message to a client, and later, I had no memory of writing it. I told myself everyone has bad days, but the bad days stopped leaving. My father was a powerful businessman. Properties, factories, offices, everything he built came from years of work. After my mother died, he remarried. He was grieving, busy, and trying to keep everything together. My stepmother entered our lives quietly. Soft voice, gentle smile, always composed. My stepbrother followed, calm, polite, and always concerned. They looked like the solution to a broken family. Then my mornings began to change. Every day, my stepmother placed pills beside my breakfast. "Doctor recommended these," she said. "They'll help you stay calm." At first, it was one pill, then two, then pills I didn't recognize. They left a faint metallic taste on my tongue. My mouth felt dry for hours. Sometimes my arms felt heavy, like lifting them took effort. When I hesitated, her tone shifted, still gentle but firmer. "Why are you making this difficult? Do you want your father to worry about you?" So I swallowed them. And slowly I disappeared. I missed meetings. I forgot passwords. I stared at documents I knew were important but couldn't understand. One evening at dinner, I repeated the same story twice. My stepbrother leaned close and whispered, "You already said that." The table went quiet. My stepmother smiled softly and said, "She's been very emotional lately." After that, she started speaking for me. "She's tired. She gets overwhelmed. She shouldn't be making decisions right now." People believed her because she sounded caring. I tried to push back once. "I'm fine," I said during a business discussion. "I can handle this." My stepmother placed her hand over mine and looked at my father. "See," she said gently, "this is what we're talking about." I opened my mouth to argue, then closed it. Even I wasn't sure anymore. That word followed me everywhere. Unstable. Soon, I was no longer invited to meetings. My stepbrother attended instead. "Dad needs someone consistent," he said once. "This isn't the right time for her." It wasn't just the business I was losing. It was proof that I still mattered. And the worst part, I started doubting myself. Maybe I was sick, maybe I couldn't be trusted. Then one afternoon, I found something. A small bottle hidden behind spices in the kitchen cabinet. No label, no prescription, just white tablets. For a moment, I almost put it back. I told myself I was imagining things again. Then I showed it to my stepmother. She didn't panic. She smiled and said, "You don't need to worry about that, just take what I give you." That night, lying in bed, my heart raced. For the first time in months, I didn't feel confused. I felt targeted. This wasn't about my health. It wasn't about care. It was about control. And if nothing changed soon, I wasn't just going to lose my place in the business. I was going to lose the right to my own life. What stopped everything wasn't my fear. It was something my father noticed in a medical report, something that didn't make sense and made him realize something was very wrong. I didn't know what my father saw in that medical report. I only knew that after reading it, he stopped looking at me like I was fragile and started looking scared. He didn't say anything at first. For days, nothing changed on the surface. My stepmother still brought my pills. My stepbrother still attended meetings. The house stayed quiet, too quiet, but my father started watching. He noticed how my hands shook after breakfast, how my thoughts slowed by late afternoon, how the fog rolled in at the same time every day. One night, he asked a simple question. "Who prescribed these medications?" My stepmother answered instantly. "A specialist," she said. "She needs them." My father nodded. He didn't argue, but something in him had shifted. The next morning, he told me to get ready. "We're going out," he said. My stepmother frowned. "She's not feeling well today." "She's coming with me," my father replied. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't explain. And for the first time, she didn't push back. In the car, my head felt heavy. My mouth was dry. I pressed my fingers into my palm just to stay present. At the hospital, my father spoke quietly to the staff. No family, no visitors, just me. They asked questions I hadn't heard in months. What medications are you taking? How long have you been on them? Do you know the dosages? I didn't, and that scared everyone in the room. They took my blood, ran neurological tests, scanned my brain, time stretched. At one point, a doctor asked my father to step outside. I sat alone, staring at the floor. What if they confirmed it? What if this really was me now? When my father came back, his face looked older. The medications in your system don't match any diagnosis, he said quietly. I felt cold. My fingers went numb. They found sedatives, he continued. Combinations that don't belong together. A doctor leaned forward. These drugs suppress cognitive function, he said. Long-term use can cause confusion, memory loss, he paused. And permanent damage. Permanent. The word echoed. I thought about the pills, the timing, the metallic taste. They weren't helping you, the doctor said. They were harming you, and whoever did this knew exactly what they were doing. My father sat down slowly. I trusted them, he said. I left you with them. I didn't feel angry. I felt afraid. Because the truth was clear, and the people responsible were still living in our house. My father made a decision that day. He asked the hospital to document everything, every substance, every test result. He asked them to contact the authorities, but quietly. If they panic, the doctor warned, they could destroy evidence or make things worse. That night, we went home like nothing had happened. My stepmother smiled. Did you have a nice day? She handed me my pills. My heart pounded as I took them. For the first time, I didn't swallow. I hid them in my sleeve, afraid even my breathing was too loud. Because now I knew the truth. And so did my father. But knowing wasn't enough. We had to survive long enough to prove it. What my stepmother didn't realize was this. The hospital hadn't just found the drugs. They had found a pattern. One that would force the police to get involved, whether we were ready or not. That night I didn't sleep. Not because I was confused, but because I was clear. I kept the pills hidden in a tissue inside my pocket like they were evidence. Every sound in the house felt amplified. Every footstep made my chest tighten. In the morning, my stepmother was already in the kitchen. "Breakfast is ready," she said, smiling. Her eyes didn't leave me. She placed the pills beside my plate. I picked them up, pretended to swallow, took a sip of water. When she turned away, I slid them into my sleeve. I thought I was careful. I wasn't. That afternoon, my stepbrother stopped me in the hallway. He didn't smile. "You didn't take them," he said. My stomach dropped. "What are you talking about?" He stepped closer, lowering his voice. "You've been acting different." I tried to laugh it off. "I'm just tired." He stared at me for a long moment, then said, "I'll tell Dad you're refusing your medication." I understood the trap instantly. If I refused treatment, I wasn't resisting, I was unstable again. That night, I went to my father. "They're watching me," I whispered. "He knows." My father didn't react. He didn't confront anyone. He pulled out his phone and turned on the recorder. "From now on," he said quietly, "we document everything." The next morning, the rules changed. My stepmother didn't place the pills on the table. She put them directly into my hand. "Take them now," she said softly. "In front of me." My mouth went dry. My father sat nearby, pretending to scroll through his phone. I knew he was listening. I lifted the pills. Her smile tightened. "Swallow," she said. If I refused, the story was theirs again. If I swallowed, I'd lose myself. So I pretended. I put the pills in my mouth, then coughed hard, bending forward like I was choking. "I'm fine," I said quickly, embarrassed. "It just went down wrong." I clenched my napkin in my fist. The pills were inside it. My stepmother didn't sit back down. She watched me. The entire time. Later that day, I heard her on the phone. Her voice wasn't calm anymore. "She's not taking them," she hissed. "We don't have time. If she keeps this up, everything falls apart." Everything. That night, my stepbrother walked into my room without knocking. "Where are the pills?" he asked. "I took them." He stepped closer, eyes cold. "Then why are you still awake?" I didn't answer. He leaned in and said quietly, "If you don't cooperate, we'll make sure no one believes you again." Not Dad, not doctors, no one. That's when I understood something terrifying. They weren't just trying to control me anymore. They were running out of patience. My father called the hospital again that night. "How long until the police can act?" he asked. The answer wasn't comforting. It was soon. and soon suddenly felt too far away. The next morning, my stepmother didn't bring pills. She brought a new drink, and she stood there watching me, waiting for me to take the first sip. She placed the glass in front of me, juice, ice, a slice of lemon on the rim. "Drink," my stepmother said, smiling. "You look dehydrated." Her hand stayed on the table. I stared at the glass. My thoughts raced. If I refused, the story would turn on me again. If I drank it, I didn't know what would happen. My father sat nearby, pretending to scroll through his phone. His jaw was tight. This wasn't part of the plan. "Go on," she said softly. "It's just a drink." I lifted the glass. The smell hit first, faint, bitter, not juice. I took a small sip. My throat burned. Within seconds, my head felt light. The edges of the room blurred. The floor tilted like it had dropped an inch. "That's enough," my father said sharply. My stepmother froze. "She's fine." I said, "That's enough." My legs weakened as I stood. My heart raced, then slowed. My hands shook so hard I couldn't steady them. "I don't feel right," I said. My stepbrother stepped forward. "She's having an episode," he said calmly. "This is what happens when she refuses treatment." I tried to speak, but my tongue felt thick. My father moved fast. He took the glass. "Don't touch that," my stepmother snapped. Too late, he smelled it. His face changed, not angry, not loud, certain. He walked to the door and made a call. "I need an ambulance," he said. "Now," my stepmother laughed, thin and nervous. "You're overreacting." The room spun harder. I sank into the chair. "She drank something," my father continued into the phone. "She didn't consent. Her condition is worsening." My stepbrother took a step back. "No," he said. "You're making a mistake." The sirens came faster than I expected. As the paramedics lifted me onto the stretcher, my stepmother leaned close, her voice breaking for the first time. "This will ruin everything," she whispered. At the hospital, everything moved at once. IVs, monitors, overlapping voices. "She ingested a sedative mixture," a doctor said. "At this dosage, it could have caused serious harm." My father signed forms with shaking hands. "This was intentional," another doctor said quietly. "You need to involve the police." My father nodded. This time there was no waiting. When officers went to the house, they didn't ask questions first. They searched the kitchen, the cabinets, the trash. They found bottles, powders, prescriptions that weren't mine. My stepmother cried. My stepbrother shouted. Neither story matched the evidence. I lay in the hospital bed, exhausted but clear-headed. Even with the proof, I couldn't shake the fear that they'd somehow explain it away, that they'd walk in smiling and take control again. They didn't, but the safety didn't feel complete yet, because arrest wasn't the end. What came out in court revealed how long they'd planned this, and just how much they were willing to sacrifice to take everything from me. Court wasn't dramatic the way movies make it look. It was quiet, bright, unforgiving. That's what made it terrifying. My stepmother sat perfectly still, hands folded, eyes calm. My stepbrother stared straight ahead, like none of this concerned him. They still believed they could manage the story. The prosecutor didn't begin with accusations. He began with dates. When did the medication start? When did the symptoms appear? When did the business documents change hands? A screen lit up behind them. Medical timelines, financial transfers, property filings, patterns. The doctor testified first. "These substances were never prescribed," she said. "They were administered repeatedly in escalating doses." She paused, then looked directly at my stepmother. This was not treatment. This was deliberate impairment. My stepmother's lawyer objected. Too late. Then the pharmacist spoke. "The sedatives came from multiple sources," he said. "Several cannot be legally dispensed without authorization." The room shifted. People leaned forward. Then the messages appeared. Text after text filled the screen, messages my stepmother believed were gone forever. "If she stays confused, the transfers will go through. Increase it slowly. No one questions a sick girl." My stepbrother stood up suddenly. "This is out of context." The judge didn't look at him. "Sit down," she said calmly. That was the moment it changed. They weren't losing control privately anymore. They were losing it in public. The final witness was my father. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't dramatize anything. "I trusted my wife," he said, "and I trusted my son." His voice cracked on the last word. I almost lost my daughter because of that trust. Silence filled the room. The verdict didn't take long. Guilty, on all charges. As the sentence was read, my stepmother finally looked at me, not with anger, with disbelief, like she still couldn't understand how the story had slipped out of her hands. They were led away. No speeches, no apologies, just the sound of footsteps fading down the hall. Afterward, there was no celebration, only exhaustion. Recovery took time, real time, therapy, rehabilitation, learning how to trust my own thoughts again. But I did recover. Months later, when I walked back into my father's office, it wasn't as the sick girl. It was as a partner. Today, I help run the business they tried to take by erasing me. And I'm telling this story for one reason. Because control doesn't always arrive as force. Sometimes it arrives as care. And if you ever feel like someone is quietly taking control of your reality, question it. The truth doesn't disappear. It waits.